Hello, and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where things were so quiet at the box office, you could hear a distinct laugh in the distance. Yes, Warner Brothers is certainly hoping to laugh all the way to the bank, but they've had a very difficult week, as I'm sure you're aware. Lots of negative headlines, and you know what I find weird? No headlines about advance ticket sales, which are par for the course at this point with major blockbusters. Where is Fandango, etc., saying that Joker is selling the same or better than Venom? We see those articles all the time. What the hell, Warner Brothers publicity? Are you just so distracted with the negative situation that you're not putting that out there? Or does that headline not exist because that's not the case? It's really kind of scary, right? Because this was supposed to be a slam dunk win for the DC. It's DCEU adjacent, which is some of you. I'm hearing weird things from some of you, like last minute cracks in the foundation for Joker. Some of you on the stream today said, people who don't want to go because it's not part of the DCEU. So what's the point in terms of cinematic universes? I'm hearing from others that you've had people tell you that they're not sure if they want to go because they feel the film could be too disturbing. It's a problem, right? And all this negativity led Warner Brothers to actually bar interviewers from the red carpet at last night's premiere. Only photographers were allowed, and they got some pretty nice pictures out of the event. But as for getting rid of the interviewers, I actually agree with that decision because Warner Brothers and the cast and Todd Phillips have already answered what was sure to be the only questions asked of them all the way down the line. And Warner Brothers doesn't need an echo chamber coming out of the premiere of how violent the movie is or how there are security concerns at movie theaters, etc., etc. I mean, I'm not saying those things. I'm just telling you what have been the headlines throughout the week. And as some of you have pointed out, by putting those headlines out there, it in fact almost wills those situations into reality, even if they didn't exist beforehand. But as Warner Brothers said very clearly in their statement, it's simply time for everyone to see this movie and decide for themselves. So, do you have Joker tickets? If so, for when are you planning to see the movie? And if you don't, why not? Have you just not bought them yet? Are you sitting out the first weekend? What's going on? Let's conduct our own little poll here in the comments down below. And at least, though, Joker doesn't have to worry about any box office competition, as Hollywood has really cleared the field for them, a courtesy usually only reserved for Disney releases. The only new release this weekend was Abominable, which did abominable at the box office. That one was for you, Arthur. All right, so yes, the trades tried to valiantly spin this as Universal's eighth number one debut of the year, the most of any studio. But they still have less than half of Disney's 2019 market share and are basically tied with Warner Brothers and even Sony. So that seems like a bit of a hollow victory to me. 8 number one debuts. Like, what did it get you? Although, as I've always told you, Universal is the one that Disney really kind of has to look out for. They are surprisingly competitive. Abominable did get an A- cinema score and has basically the same Rotten Tomatoes score as Joker. But so far, DreamWorks Animation is looking pretty soft compared to its Universal step-sibling, which of course recently acquired DreamWorks Animation, and that's Illumination Entertainment. Although, to be fair, Illumination is having a bit of an off year themselves. It's tough out there. It's tough for anyone who's not Disney. Although I think Maleficent might be a little bit rare bump in the road for them. We'll see. Do you have Maleficent tickets? Because those have been on sale for a while, and they're really pushing them. I don't think you need to buy those tickets in advance, though. Are you planning to see Maleficent, I guess, is a better question. But anyway, DreamWorks is still valuable to Universal because of its stable of franchises. Remember, Chris Meledandri, who now runs both animation studios, is planning to relaunch Shrek. And that could work. We're in the middle of a nostalgia craze, and Shrek has a huge chunk of nostalgia. But still, Abominable is one of the lowest debuts ever for DreamWorks Animation and animation in general. However, Abominable's big sell, as you might recall, was that it is a co-production with the Chinese animation studio spun out of DreamWorks Animation, Pearl Studios. A lot of Hollywood movies making big money in China. How about some animation, right? I don't think anything's really, like Frozen did really well, like in South Korea, right? I think also too in Japan. But there's been no animated movie, except for Coco, actually. They loved Coco in China. That's done really well in the Middle Kingdom. This movie, Abominable, is supposed to do boffo business there when it goes wide for some reason on Tuesday. That's the number we really need to see before we can decide what's going on here with Abominable. Remember, China's own Monster Hunt, which was a live-action animation hybrid, made $381.8 million in China. Although China's so secretive, maybe they actually have those little monsters over there. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, Monster Hunt, the first one, made $381.8 million in China, and its sequel $356.3. It's weird. We can't really verify any of these numbers, and of course, again, Hollywood only gets 25% of their Chinese box office. But there are a lot of people in China, so they could be generating these kinds of numbers. Who knows if they're real? But they look good on paper, and Abominable would like to look good on paper. And you can see the influence between Monster Hunt and Abominable. Now, there was one small headline this weekend, but it's a nice one, and that's for Judy, which managed to pop into the top 10, number 7 actually. It didn't just barely make it into the top 10, it's in there, despite playing in just under 500 theaters. And that's thanks to solid reviews, great press coverage. They did a great job with this. Very little competition at the box office, and maybe a Renee Zellweger comeback at the very least. Her Oscar nomination chances just got a whole lot stronger. Judy is also another huge win, 2 weeks in a row, for older moviegoers, especially female older moviegoers. It'll be interesting to see how indie distributor Roadside Attractions, for those of you who are Peanut Butter and Falcon fans, it's from the same distributor, so they're having a good couple of weeks here, right? But Roadside Attractions decided to we'll see how they decide to roll this one out. Will they do it slowly, or will they go wide right away? On this one, I would actually recommend they go wide right away, because it's hard to imagine better counter-programming to Joker than Judy. What happened to Judy Garland is not only a tragic horror story itself, but it really happened. That is quite the set, Joker and Judy. It's an amazing set, actually. I hope Roadside can move that quickly. I don't know if they can, but it would be amazing for them if they could. Especially if people are on the edge about Joker, go see Judy. At least it's historical. All right, so it is Hollywood history. And everybody should know what happened to Judy Garland. It's tragic. I'm going to see it actually. I'm trying to see it tomorrow night, and I'll try and review it on Tuesday. It depends how much stuff's going on this week with New York Comic Con and Joker. But I'm going to review it. I'm going to see it. But I have heard that it covers not only the end of her life, but also where all of her problems started on The Wizard of Oz. Really it should be, if it's done well, really interesting stuff. And audiences seem to be enjoying the film who've seen it so far. Now, as for the overall top 10, Downton Abbey, speaking of Downton Abbey, that had a solid hold. Many of us were wondering if this was just going to be a one weekend thing. It's not. It wasn't an amazing hold, but it's a very good hold in just its second weekend. And it's already passed the century mark worldwide. And remember, before advertising, this thing cost just $13 million. So again, a sequel is almost guaranteed. But, I hope they don't take as long to announce it as they're taking with Aladdin 2. Where the heck is Aladdin 2? All right, so then Hustlers enjoyed one of the best holds of the weekend, and in its third week, passed up Ad Astra, Rambo Last Blood, and its old nemesis, It Chapter 2. Hustlers is already one of the biggest hits of J-Lo's career. I think it's like number 3. And it could even become her biggest hit, which would be really interesting because it would mirror Will Smith, another actor who in their 50s is at the top of their game. And that Oscar talk for J-Lo, it has not died down. It was not a fad. It's sticking. I think she's going to get that nomination, and I think she's almost definitely going to win a Golden Globe. Then speaking of Ad Astra and Rambo because with Hustlers, the fact that it did really well at the box office, it makes it not as easy to maybe potentially dismiss the movie because it found a strong audience. So that's really good too. And that's a good talking point for Jennifer Lopez. Not only because she's making a big deal, she went on a music tour to promote her 50th birthday. She's been going all over the talk shows talking about it. She walked in that Versace dress again. She's going to play up the importance of longevity of someone's career, which will appeal to a lot of the older awards voters. She's very smart, or someone who works for her is, but she's executing it. So back to Ad Astra and Rambo Last Blood. Not much to say here, because no one's talking about or seeing these movies. They had the biggest drops in the top 10 in only their second weekends. Ouch! Now, as for this coming weekend, as of now, because again, who knows if Roadside Attractions will be able to push Judy wide that quickly for this coming weekend. But as of now, Joker is the only wide release. The number to beat, this is all it has to do. It just has to beat out Venom's 80.2. If it can even do something like 70 something like Halloween, I guess that would be acceptable. It's really got to beat Venom though. It's got to beat the 80.2. That's the biggest October opening ever. And analysts think Joker will not only do that, so at least from within the industry it's looking like it might happen. They think it could even do better than that and could be the month of October's first ever 100 million plus debut. But with this past week, and again, what some of you are saying to me, I just don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Joker is going to be a wild card. What do you think? How do you think Joker is going to do? That's this week's Movie Math. Thanks for going over the box office with me. Be sure to share those thoughts down below. Hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.